dancers that are always making money. You know, owning a business is like a spiritual journey. I had some people that taught sales in corporate, and I studied NLP and hypno and so many different courses, even like yoga and meditation. Like my main pillars are basically confidence, mindset, sales.
What do you think girls do wrong?
When you're like, I already have and I'm going to give, and I'm going to give the best. And then the customers are like, you know, but I think that is one thing that we can do wrong is like expectation. Like my longest waitressing job was 29 hours. There's going to be drugs and alcohol going around, and
I don't even know how to just have a conversation with someone without having a drink.
They might not want to be intellectually stimulated. They might want to be more in their body and just getting turned on. There's usually something that lights people up. You just haven't found it yet.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I would now. I feel good.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Spicy Waitress Diaries. Today we have the lovely Wendy from Perth.
Hey, how are you?
Wendy has been stripping for 15 years and now you run your own industry academy. So tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit more about the academy.
Yeah, like my experience in the industry has evolved through time. I started back in Queensland in 2010 and relocated to Perth. So I've been mainly here. And just through time, like I had my own struggles, you know, that I dealt with, mainly mindset, self-doubt. And I really was always so inspired by the dancers that are always making money, you know, and I was just so intrigued for so long. Like I wanted that, but I just couldn't. I had so many of my own obstacles, like self-doubt and, you know, fears and, you know, of rejection and just stuff like that. And I would see these dancers just kill it all the time. And I couldn't put my finger on it. You know, it's so intriguing. It was like, they don't look the same. They're not the same age. By just looking, there was nothing that really answered how they do well all the time. And I just went on this big quest.
Yeah.
And honestly, like it's like people say, you know, owning a business is like a spiritual journey, you know, and I find that stripping, anything that kind of, you need to grow as a person. Like you might want a result, but it takes like a full global kind of like come up to be able to do that. And for me, it was really facing off with a lot of doubts and things. I studied a lot of different courses. Like my background, I'm a scientist, you know.
Cool.
And yeah, so a bit, you know, a bit of a nerdy streak. But when like this was like self-study, you know, and I was like, what can I do? And I hired some people that taught sales in corporate, and I remember spending like $3,000 in one day just to have a tutorial with a sales expert. This was right at the start. And then I studied NLP and hypno and so many different courses, even like yoga and meditation, because for me, I get really obsessed with work and I kind of like just don't have an off button. So I was like, I need to learn like rest and energetics.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just went on this like kind of little exploration. And then I guess through that, in my club in Perth, I work at Penthouse. That was my home club. I've worked all over. One of the managers, so this would be about 2018, was like, you know, this particular dancer was struggling. I've shared this on my podcast before, but you know, do you have any tips to help her? Because by this point, I was sort of getting quite consistent and having good customers and stuff. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I sent the manager a message just of a few things, because obviously I worked with this chick. I could see just a few little tips, and it literally the next night she made like over $1,000. She'd struggled solely for a month. Yeah. And it kind of goes hand in hand. Like if you're struggling a bit, your mindset suffers, the way you show up suffers, and it kind of is this whole trend. And then if you're doing well, it's like a positive loop. Your confidence builds, and you do better, and then, you know, so that managed to flip her, and that was a really pivotal moment. I was like, wow. And then basically over about 5 years, I put together, which is now the Industry Academy. So we just kicked off this round, which is round 11. So, you know, it's been going, is just such a beautiful community. So yeah, we kicked off, and this is the round that's going up until Christmas. which is really fun because it's silly season and it's, you know, it's a different vibe to the ones at the start of the year, which is more like, you know, start of the year, let's like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, so it's an awesome group. There's people from like all different countries and all over Australia and
Amazing.
yeah, just talking about the things like my main pillars are basically, you know, confidence, mindset, sales,
Yeah. Love.
and basically anything that comes into that. They can be things that we don't realize that affect our performance at work. Like, for example, relationships or, you know, there's life things that kind of like
So, what do you think in like the club sort of environment and in like the topless waitressing environment as well? What do you think girls do wrong?
wrong. There could be a whole different range of things, but
The most common thing that you found.
one thing I think that's really sneaky that we might not realize that we do is, I guess, in a way, and it's so nuanced, but it's like expectation.
Yeah.
I have a strong philosophy around like giving, receiving. Like we need to inspire our customers to want to pay us. You know, we show up in that way, but I think sometimes, you know, you can get a bit complacent or a bit like things are going really well, you're getting paid really well, and then you can get a bit top heavy if you don't stay grounded. And it's a recipe to fall on your face, really. But sometimes you can forget that the customers are a person and sort of start seeing them as like, well, I want, you know, it's about once it starts being about getting, it's actually, if you wind it back, if you're focused on what can I get, that in a sense is scarcity mindset because it's like, I don't have, I need to get. Whereas if you come from abundance, things flow so much more easily when you're like, I already have and I'm going to give and I'm going to give the best to you. And then the customers are like, you know, but I think that is one thing that we can do wrong is like expectation. Like, I've gotten ready, I'm in the club, I expect to be paid. You're wasting my time. And it's sort of like not taking accountability for the fact that the customers have free choice because you've gotten ready and you're there. It doesn't actually, and it's like, it doesn't actually necessarily mean you're going to get paid, you know, which is sort of one of the difficult things with work. But yeah, I think that expectation, and I see it, I can really feel that with some dancers that they're getting very easily frustrated with customers, or they're, you know, lashing out even sometimes, or feeling there's something wrong with them, or, you know, all those things like it should be like this, and it's like it shouldn't have to actually be anything, you know.
Yeah.
Work with how it is, really.
Yeah, so true. I never even thought about that. Someone's actually brought that up. Queen. And I saw a piece of your content that did say, and you've just mentioned as well, that you want to inspire our customers to keep spending money. How would you, in practical kind of form, how would a girl do that?
Really being present,
Yeah.
really having like a genuine interest in the person. And I know it's easier said than done because like in our industry, like, you know, we're dealing with generally like drunk men, and sometimes it is hard to want to connect with some people, or, you know, but usually there's something under things. So if you have like a really the intention of like, I want to connect with this person, I want to provide them with a safe space, something, what it is that they're needing, if we can like fill that. So for example, if you notice that they just need to unwind, and then you pick up the cues and you respond, you know. So it can really be anything, but if you can tailor it to your customers, so basically like in practical terms, having the intention to provide them a great experience. For me, I always had a mantra of like, if I can just help this person to feel better than they felt before I met them, then my job is done. And they might not pay, you know, that you might just have a little chat, a fun hustle, and then move on. More likely than not, they are going to pay. But if your intention isn't, I'm going to make them pay, it's actually, I want to help them feel better, have a laugh, feel better about themselves, then you're more likely to get paid, but also that your intention is done then, you know. And that they might not pay in that moment, but they might come back 2 weeks later, act up, or, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, planting those seeds, I think in practical terms, that's how we can inspire people to want to pay, because they feel valued.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's, with us, girls are paid for the hour at topless jobs, right? And, how we kind of encourage girls and give a few tips to girls to actually get extended and get rebooked is obviously, bringing the energy, bringing the atmosphere. That's all very energetically, it's can be quite taxing on yourself as well. So I loved the point how obviously it's in your 4 pillars and you do focus on your own mental health and your own spiritual mindset as well. Could you kind of go into that a little bit more with us?
Yeah, it can be very taxing. And again, back to the giving thing, if uh law of reciprocity, but like say we give our energy, does inspire people to give in return. The energy that we give is not depleting us. It's actually being returned in other ways. People's appreciation, people's appreciation, or people's money, tips, things like that. It's like it sort of converts. So if we're looking at like, I need to preserve my energy, because some nights are really long. Like my longest waitressing job was 29 hours. I was going within 24 hours, like
That's hectic.
mental. So like I love extensions and things like that. It's like, so if you're adding value, but yeah, if you're like, oh, it's going to be exhausting. And sometimes it is. Sometimes people's company is a bit exhausting. But if you think about it, it's the expectation on their end, right? And you can't change anyone. So what you can do is like bring the energy and hope that they reciprocate. They don't have to, but it's the best chance. But if you show up with like, oh, I don't want to like use my energy, and these people are like, if you notice you start getting into interactions where people are like, well, what else are you going to do? Or like this is not really worth the money, or things like that, then it shows that there's something amiss. And the only way that it can be changed, because they're probably not going to change it, is from you and reminding yourself, like, I am enough. Like if this isn't enough for them, that's on them.
Yeah.
We get obviously a lot of girls who party and use that energy. So what do you say? Obviously, not to do drugs is better, but how do you coach girls through that when they're very reliant to do that to make them and their energy levels boost and have that confidence?
It is hard because look, it's a job that's in that environment, and there's going to be drugs and alcohol going around, and it's like anything in life. It's like, say, like cheap dopamine. It's like if you don't need to work for the dopamine, you're robbing it from yourself. And so like you'll feel it the next day, for example. You're like, oh, just pinch some dopamine. It's like exercise or something. Like you put the effort in, you get the endorphins. But things like, drugs and alcohol, it's like you don't have to put any effort in, but you get the reward, but you are going to face the thing later. Sometimes for me, I just like to check in with myself. I know there's always more energy in the tank.
Yeah.
What you tell yourself, you find evidence for. So the minute you start going, oh, it's really cold and I'm a bit tired, now suddenly your feet hurt. Now suddenly you're hungry. Now suddenly your bed sounds really good and you get tired really quick. So it's a mindset thing. It's like knowing, be on your own team.
So like the partying and the drugs, you definitely lose yourself in it. And I found that coming out of the industry and stopping all that, I didn't know how to be in situations because I was like, I'm normally drunk or I'm normally a bit tipsy and I've got this other thing. And I was just like, I don't even know how to just have a conversation with someone without having a drink. And then you get this awkwardness. And I was the first year coming out of it, I was very socially awkward. And I'm just like, I'm such a confident person. And also it
does rob you of that. Like,
it does.
I started in the industry sober, and then I met some girlfriends at the strip club, and then we'd always drink and treated it like a party at work. And then I was drinking at work for such a prolonged period of time that when I tried to be sober again, it kind of robbed me of my mojo a little bit. And I felt so awkward when I was working. So it does kind of, make you.
Yeah. I found though there's been nights where I didn't party and it's like 5 a.m. and I'm the one with the most energy because you just haven't had anything and you're bouncing off of people and you do find that natural energy. But then I think if I went to a party where they were a bit boring, I was like, all right, this sucks.
And you've got to like dig deep, you know, and you realize shit, time's
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, I want to get your opinion on this because obviously I still work in the club and I'm going to give a very practical sort of situation here that happens to me at least 3 or 4 times in the night. But I'll be in bookings and it's a very intimate one-on-one sort of situation. And I just feel like bored. Like I feel like I'm like, have I been doing this for like too many years or something? Or, you know, I can talk to anyone, but I also kind of believe that like you can only meet someone as deeply as they've met themselves. And like sometimes you just ask people questions and questions and questions, and it's just one word answers all the time. Like, what do you think about that situation and what you would do?
You can sort of switch your hustle up, not hustle, but like your entertainment up. If you're noticing like one word answers that they, you know, something, it's again finding the thing for the person. They might be noticing what they're responding to, so they might not want to be intellectually stimulated. They might want to be more in their body and just getting turned on and like enjoying that. So sometimes if I notice they're not really bouncing with the questions, I will probably drop into my body a bit more and get a bit more sensual and then see if they respond well to that. Sometimes we never really know. Maybe they're so shy. They're just like freeze state because they're like, this is the gosh. So yeah, trying to like in your mind get curious again, like what's their experience, what's going on for them.
How do you get into your body? So when you said that, how do you do that?
Well, I guess when you're like wanting to speak with the people, you're a bit more in your head, like what can I say next, this and that. And then if you drop into your body, it's more kind of like your presence and awareness is like in your body. So maybe you might want to touch yourself a bit more, just start feeling a bit sensual, connected to your body, and see if they respond to like that kind of energy. It is hard to describe. I guess it's like your awareness. If you picture like your awareness, I don't know, I'd say like just more in
I guess it's more like, are we going to have a talking booking or am I going to be dancing the whole time? And sometimes me being me, I'm just like, I just want to sit here and talk. Like, I don't want to have to physically move all the time.
Finding that thing that there's usually something that lights people up. You just haven't found it yet. Sometimes, you know, you hit a topic where they're like, that's the thing. And sometimes it can be a safety thing too. Like if we can look from our point of view, if we're not feeling fully safe, we're not going to want to open up. So sometimes it can be letting the person know that like they're safe with you. And yeah, you're a safe person to be around. Like that can help people open up. But it is finding it's hard. It's different with each person, you know. But some key things are like, do they want just more sensual? Most people want a combo of like conversation plus sensual, you know. But some people are up each end of the spectrum. They just want to banter or like they just want to be turned on. And then there's like maybe they are so socially awkward. They're like screaming inside and they're like shit scared, you know, that can happen. And sometimes just gentle touch or even your positioning, you know, if you're looming over them, it's like, oh, you know, you might want to crouch down a bit and like, you know, just help them like feel a bit more comfortable.
Give them a massage, relax their shoulders.
Yeah, I do really find that like,
I have them stress balls.
I really find that like that's so true. Like when you do find a particular topic with a customer, like I have this one regular that comes back and I'm very good at like remembering people's faces. So they like resonate with the fact that I remember them a lot. And obviously if you remember their name, like that's even more of a plus. Yeah, I have this one customer and he his favorite topic is just like talking about how masculine he is and how women should be feminine and just not speak and this and that. So, yeah. So I completely know how to, like, because I've had those sort of conversations and he is a regular client, like I kind of step into that role that he speaks about and how the world should be. Like a lot when I'm with him. And yeah, we do get, a prolonged booking.
Can I ask you a question though? After it, because I haven't worked in a strip club, do you feel like you say all this stuff and you're like, I don't actually mean that, and then after you're just like, I feel fucked, and then you have to go on to more bookings, but you're like creating this persona? No?
You kind of just shake it off.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I never did a club. I was always topless waitressing, so it was just party. But I would always chat with guys, but they were there for a party. Guys who come into the club come in for different reasons.
Yeah, it's true.
I guess we have this superpower where we can just like sort of shake it off and then be another. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And like you can make it your own as well for yourself. Like have your own little secret invisible boundaries as well. Like say for example, this guy, like if you just don't agree with that, but you can still interact in a way that like ticks their box and yours. Like for me, when you said that, like I can just imagine having fun with like, oh, you're so manly, like show me that flex again, and like you can kind of have your own fun as well. So, sometimes I'm even like, do you want to be right or do you want to be paid?
Yeah.
It's like in a little control room, I think the persona that we have, some people might be like it's fake. I view it as like it's just different parts of our personality. We might turn up a notch and turn down a notch. So it's like, in order to entertain well and like be versatile with many different people, yeah, you might want to exaggerate like the outgoing part, the confident part. Yeah, and then turning down maybe like your opinions a bit. Just tweaking. But again, some customers, they like the pushback. They like banter. You're like, your views are fucks, and they're like, tell me more,
You've been in the industry for about 15 years. What do you think as a dancer your strengths were?
My resilience.
Yeah.
And my curiosity, I think. Like I've never been the hottest or the, anything that I could, I guess, just lean on and that would carry me. I really had to work on myself to get really successful. My upbringing was quite difficult and very rough, a lot of violence and instability and, chaos and things like that. So for me.
Is that what led you to the industry? Did you start at quite a young age?
I started at 25, like I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
So I went to uni, I went to uni and I always had like abusive boyfriends, and it did shape like the early adulthood of my life. Actually, once I started stripping, that's when I really started learning my self-worth. It really helped with that. Before that, being a scientist, I wasn't getting paid very much. I was just accepting really shitty treatment. I was living week to week. Like I never had any dreams or hopes for the future. I just had no idea I was just in survival mode completely. And so I don't think stripping, any of that led me to stripping. I was always curious about it. Yeah, I was like love at first shift, and it changed my life. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Like there's certain things like I learned boundaries when nights are rough. Like you've probably already picked up, I've got different ways of seeing things that just a shift of perspective can completely change something. So for example, like a rude customer, no one's more difficult than my dad, so sometimes I think that like, that was a rude comment, cool, like that's fucking baby talk compared to something like that. Also, really having the ability to not let things get to me, but things also very much get to me, but only certain things. So and just really learning to strengthen my self-worth, which it was shattered. I didn't have any. I didn't have any stepping in, and I can say now stepping out, but I just feel so much more confident. I learned about myself. I learned about people. I did put myself, a lot of the money that I made was stripping, like I bought properties, but I invested a lot into my mental health. So
Yeah.
I've had like a psychoanalyst for 12 years.
Wow.
Wow.
I used to do twice a week. Now I do once a week. And like, that's a lot. And she's like 400 and something a session. So, you know, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my mental health because at the same time, like I've met that many, and I'm sure you guys have as well, miserable, really rich people where their lives are falling apart and they're in the most beautiful mansion and they're fucking miserable. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't it funny? And isn't it just so funny that, like you say, you know, unfortunately, you didn't have self-worth going into the industry. You developed that for yourself, where most men, most sort of shallow men would be like, oh, you have no self-worth if you're doing that job. So isn't that funny? Because
Yeah.
I feel very empowered when I work at the club or when I finish a booking. Like I feel very, very empowered and yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It's true. It gets misconstrued, I think, with society. And I kind of think that's a good thing in a way because then I did some memes recently, but like, we get to secure that danger money, you know.
Yeah.
The industry doesn't get oversaturated because there is that stigma. It's like the stigma sucks, but it also, in a way, protects us and keeps it niche.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if a girl was to literally just brand new jump into the industry, what's kind of like your main 3 points that you would tell her?
Yeah, I mean, well, it would be niche, like dependent on them, but is the goal for them to like, what would I tell them in order to make the most amount of money or to
Yeah.
protect themselves or just anything?
Yeah, to be successful.
To be successful, I would say anything you do in repetition grows. Okay. If you tell yourself over and over, oh, I'm not good enough or I suck or, you know, you drink too much or anything that it is that you repeat, you are teaching yourself. So I would very strongly say not only at work, but especially outside of work, speak kindly to yourself, celebrate yourself, support yourself, be that cheerleader that you need for yourself because no one is going to do it. You need to build that resilience and that confidence in yourself. Practice it. It's just repetition. It's a muscle. Do it outside of work. You know, visualize. That's what I do with a lot of my clients. Like in nights where everything's flowing, going beautifully, you feel on top of the world, like everyone wants to give you money, go there in your mind. Go there in your mind every day because I guarantee you tell yourself different things on nights like that than you tell yourself on difficult nights. And so if you're having a difficult night, you can actually get into the other state. And it's just practice. And that is such a powerful tool to have at your fingertips. And that's something that changed everything for me because I had to practice that and I did and I dedicated to it. And it just got to like at any moment, I have a difficult conversation, someone's annoying me. And instead of like going down that path of frustration and all of that, that would be my cue to tap into the abundant, confident version of me and just feel it and show up from that place. So I would say create that resource for yourself. And then I would say just go for it. Like anytime you have a doubt, oh, I talk to that person, I don't think they'll like me. Go talk to them. Take action. Like everything's just a series of repetition, taking action, repetition. If you fall down, get up, action. You know, it's like, it's just that. It's literally just that. You can have good times, bad times. But yeah, so like literally train yourself to support yourself. Fucking go for it. Third thing, I don't know, get clear on what it's all for, you know, what you're building, and then educate yourself around that. If you want to buy property, like, you know, it can all come up together.
What are some of your girls making a night now or before, you know, going into your program and now?
There's a lot of examples. I've worked with hundreds of women. One, for example, so this year, so I do my academy, it's 3 months, but this year I've just trialed doing a 6-month intensive mentorship. Really incredible one just recently because she's only been in the industry less than a year, and she's amazing. a natural, I would say. Like she made in 3 nights 16,000 something. And 2 of those nights were from this customer. She just showed up and went for it. And that's what I mean, that clarity, that drive. But now, like, she just messaged me because the 6-month thing ended a few months ago. But, you know, she just updated me the other day. Everything is going so well at work. I've hit my house deposit savings goal as of last week. We were talking about that just a few months ago. That was ready for next year. So she's well ahead. She's like 6 months ahead of
good
what
on her.
her big scary goals were.
Yeah.
As of last week, I keep hitting insane new PBs as well. Getting out of my comfort zone at work has been giving me such good results. Just working on the balancing act, honestly, which, you know, comes up obviously.
Amazing.
It's like one example, but yeah, a lot of them, you know, it depends what they're heading towards. Everyone's got different schedules. Not everyone wants to work, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them, you know, like over 10K a week is, you know, very, very common, and just some very insane shit all the time. That's what we're big on, is the possibility.
10K a week is like just so bizarre to so many people who aren't in the industry, and then we just say it like it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's a comfort zone thing, you know. It's like at first you're like, that can't be real, and then you're like, that's my normal, you know. It's like,
No, that's so good. I'm so glad like you're out there and able to help women. If women want to get in touch with you and do any of these courses, how can they reach out to you?
So my Instagram is called Stripology. So Stripology _ study of the hustle. So it's STRIPOLOGY _ study of the hustle, all one word. I've got my own podcast as well. So this episode is going to be on there as well. Yeah, there's about like 100 and something episodes, and I have a lot of free content as well. So if you're someone that's in the industry and you're like just interested in the topic of, I guess, mindset, sales, confidence, different ways that you can show up and just challenge yourself and do better. I've got like a whole range of free like masterclasses, free workshops. The podcast, I've got meditations specifically for work. And then the step further, I've got mini courses. And then I've got like my signature 3-month course, the Industry Academy, but there's mini courses on individual topics like sales or like comparison.
Okay.
Yeah. So a whole range.
Want to reach out, best is Instagram.
Best
Cool.
is
Beautiful.
Oh, awesome.
Well, we always end the podcast on a question, and it is, what is something that nobody knows about you? It does not have to be sexual, anything to do with stripping, just anything that no one knows.
like nobody, because I got a husband now.
Nobody.
Nobody. Tell us your secret.
Another one, and I'm like, I can't say that, I'd get locked up. So look, I'm a bit neurodivergent. I mean, music wise, I love old school hip hop. I mean, people probably do know that, but that's my jam. Like, you know, I grew up born in 84. I grew up with older brothers, and I love like anything lyrical. I love writing. So that's also something that I guess, I mean, I do put it on Instagram, my writing, but that's something that's really special to me. Like, I love writing. And
that's beautiful. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you so much for coming on. So Stripology, you can contact her on Instagram. So thank you everyone for watching. Please make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.